Listen carefully because what I'm about to tell you might completely change the way you see her behavior forever. Most men are blind to the most dangerous kind of love. Not the love that is loud, obvious, and dramatic, but the love that is silent, hidden, and secretly consuming her from the inside. Because when a woman is deeply in love with you, she will not always confess it. She will not always chase you. She will not always say, "I miss you." Instead, she will do something far more confusing. She will come close and then suddenly pull away. She will show you warmth, then act cold. She will look at you like you are everything and then pretend you are nothing. And if you don't understand the psychology behind this, you will destroy the connection without even realizing it. You will think she's playing games. You will think she's not serious. You will think she's wasting your time. But the truth is, the more she pulls back, the more she might be fighting feelings that are getting too powerful for her to control. And here's the scary part. Some of the strongest signs that she is secretly in love with you look exactly like rejection. Yes, rejection. And that is why most men lose the woman who was ready to give them everything, because they misread her silence, her distance, and her mood swings as disinterest. But in reality, it is often her heart trying to protect itself from you, because she knows once she falls completely, she may never recover if you break her. So if you've been confused by her mixed signals, if you've felt her energy change, if you've wondered why she acts different after opening up, stay with me until the end. Because by the time this video finishes, you will know the exact moments when her heart is secretly screaming your name, even while her lips stay silent. When a woman is secretly deeply in love with you, the first thing that happens is not what most men expect. It's not a confession. It's not a romantic message. It's not even obvious affection. In fact, the first sign of deep love is often the exact opposite of what you think love should look like. It's tension. It's challenge. It's resistance. It's a quiet emotional pressure that begins to build between the two of you, and most men misread it completely. Because the moment she starts falling, she also starts fearing. And you have to understand this. A woman doesn't just fall in love and feel happy. She falls in love and immediately becomes aware of what love costs. Love is not just attraction. Love is not just chemistry. Love is surrender. And surrender is terrifying, especially for someone who has been disappointed before, betrayed before, ignored before, or taken for granted. So what does she do? She tests you, not in a childish way, not in a manipulative way, but in a deeply psychological way that even she may not be fully conscious of. It's not always intentional, it's instinctive. It's her emotional intelligence scanning you, measuring you, checking your stability, your maturity, your self-control. She is trying to answer one brutal question that she may never say out loud, but she feels it in every interaction. Is this man safe? And when I say safe, I don't mean physically safe, I mean emotionally safe, psychologically safe. A man can be attractive and still be dangerous. A man can be charming and still be destructive. A man can make her laugh and still destroy her life. Women understand this more than men realize. That's why, when her emotions begin to attach to you, she doesn't just melt, she becomes alert. She becomes careful, because now the stakes are higher. Now it matters. And this is why she begins testing you. She will say something slightly disrespectful and watch if you collapse. She will tease you and observe if your ego becomes fragile. She will disagree with you on purpose and see if you become aggressive. She will delay replying to your message and watch whether you start begging for attention. She will act distant for a moment and see if you panic, if you start over-explaining, if you lose your composure. Because in her mind, she is not just dating a man, she is evaluating a future. She is evaluating what kind of emotional environment you create. She is evaluating whether you bring peace or chaos. And the reason she tests you is because she knows one thing that most men still don't understand. A man's emotional reactions reveal his true character. Anyone can act calm when life is easy. Anyone can be romantic when everything is going well. But the moment a man feels uncertain, the moment his ego feels threatened, the moment he feels like he might lose control, his real personality comes out. his insecurity comes out, his anger comes out, his possessiveness comes out, his neediness comes out. And if she is deeply in love, she cannot afford to ignore those signs. So she pushes, she presses, she tests. And if you fail, she may still like you, but she won't respect you. And without respect, love cannot survive. Respect is the foundation of a woman's long-term devotion. Attraction can be temporary, but respect is what makes her stay. Respect is what makes her submit emotionally, not out of weakness, but out of trust. And this is where most men ruin everything, because when a woman tests them, they take it personally. They get offended. They start trying to prove themselves. They start performing. They start chasing validation. They start becoming reactive, emotional, dramatic. They start explaining their worth like they are in an interview. They start begging for reassurance. They start demanding clarity. They start asking questions like, "Why are you acting like this? And do you even like me?" And the moment you do that, she learns something. She learns that your confidence is not real. It's fragile. It's dependent on her mood. It's dependent on her attention. And if your confidence depends on her, then you are not a man she can rely on. Because what happens when life gets hard? What happens when stress hits? What happens when problems come? What happens when she is not in the mood to reassure you? What happens when she is struggling and needs you to be stable? If you fall apart over a late reply, she knows you will fall apart over bigger things. So she tests you. And the truth is, the deeper she falls, the more she tests. Because the more she loves you, the more power you have. And she needs to know what you will do with that power. Will you become arrogant? Will you become careless? Will you start playing games? Will you start treating her like she's replaceable? Or will you remain grounded? Will you remain consistent? Will you remain emotionally disciplined? That is what she is measuring. And these tests are not always loud. Sometimes they are quiet. She might cancel plans last minute. She might give you a vague answer. She might act slightly colder than usual. She might mention another man casually. She might post something that triggers you. She might disappear for a few hours and return like nothing happened. And you must understand what she is looking for. She is looking for emotional mastery. She is looking for a man who doesn't become unstable when things are uncertain. A man who doesn't become desperate when he doesn't get attention. A man who doesn't try to control her because he cannot control himself. A man who doesn't punish her with silence or chase her with neediness or manipulate her with guilt. Because women don't fall in love with words. Women fall in love with emotional leadership. They fall in love with the man who stays calm while everything else is chaotic. They fall in love with the man whose presence feels like stability. They fall in love with the man who doesn't beg, doesn't threaten, doesn't collapse, doesn't perform. They fall in love with the man who knows who he is. So when she tests you, she is not trying to destroy the relationship. She is trying to confirm that you are not an illusion. She is trying to see if your masculinity is real or performative. Because many men know how to look confident. Many men know how to speak confidently. Many men know how to act like leaders when things are comfortable. But real masculine energy is proven when you are challenged. Real strength is proven when your ego is triggered. Real confidence is proven when you are not being validated. And if you can stay calm. Under pressure, you communicate something without saying a word. You communicate that you are safe, that you are stable, that you are mature, that you are not easily shaken. And when a woman feels that, something powerful happens inside her. She relaxes. And when a woman relaxes, she becomes more feminine, more soft, more emotionally available, more affectionate, more trusting, more open, because her nervous system finally believes she can rest around you. This is not just romance, this is biology, this is psychology. The female brain is wired to scan for danger, and emotional danger is still danger. If she senses instability, her body will stay alert, her mind will stay guarded, she will stay defensive, she will stay unpredictable. But if she senses calmness and emotional control, her entire system shifts into trust, and that is when love deepens. But let me make something very clear. Passing her test does not mean tolerating disrespect. It does not mean accepting manipulation. It does not mean allowing her to mistreat you. Emotional strength is not the same as emotional weakness. A strong man can remain calm and still set boundaries. A strong man can stay composed and still walk away from nonsense. A strong man doesn't argue to prove his worth. He simply lives in his worth. That's the difference. So when she tests you, your response must be mature, not emotional, calm, not reactive, clear, not needy. If she acts distant, you don't chase her like a desperate boy. You continue your life. If she challenges you, you don't explode. You respond with calm authority. If she tries to provoke jealousy, you don't become insecure. You smile and stay unshaken because the moment she sees that you are stable, she starts trusting you with something precious, her heart. And once a woman trusts you, she doesn't just like you, she starts attaching to you. She starts craving your presence. She starts thinking about you when she doesn't want to. She starts feeling emotionally affected by your silence, and she doesn't understand why she feels so drawn. But the truth is simple. She tested you, and you passed. So remember this. If she's challenging you, if she's confusing you, if she's pushing your buttons, don't assume she hates you. Don't assume she's playing you. Sometimes it means she is fighting herself. She is trying to protect herself from the intensity of what she feels for you, because deep love doesn't make a woman peaceful at first. It makes her cautious, and her caution will always look like testing. So the next time she tests you, don't respond with ego, don't respond with fear, respond with grounded confidence. Respond like a man who knows he is valuable, with or without her approval. Because the truth is, the strongest men don't beg to be chosen. They give women the chance to choose them. And if she is secretly in love with you, she will, because no woman forgets a man who made her feel safe in a world full of emotional chaos. And here's the closing truth you need to carry with you. A woman doesn't test the man she doesn't care about. She tests the man she's afraid of losing. When a woman is secretly deeply in love with you, one of the first emotions that begins to rise inside her is not happiness. It's not excitement. It's not even romance. It's something far more uncomfortable and far more revealing. It's jealousy. Now, most men misunderstand jealousy completely. They think jealousy is childish, toxic, dramatic, and irrational. And yes, sometimes it can be. But what people don't understand is that jealousy, in its most natural form, is not a sign of insecurity. It's a sign of emotional investment. It's a signal that someone has become psychologically attached to you, because you don't get jealous over someone you don't care about. Jealousy is not love, but it is evidence that love is beginning to form. It's the emotional alarm system that activates when something feels threatened. And for a woman who is secretly in love with you, her greatest fear is not another woman taking you. Her greatest fear is losing control of her own emotions, because when she loves you, you become important. And the moment you become important, the possibility of losing you becomes terrifying. This is why jealousy appears. But here's the key point you must understand. When a woman is deeply in love with you, she rarely expresses jealousy the way men expect. She doesn't always confront you directly. She doesn't always ask you questions. She doesn't always say, "Who is she?" or "Why did you like her picture?" No. A woman who is deeply in love with you becomes jealous in a much more subtle and psychologically complex way. She becomes jealous and then she tries to hide it like a crime, because she knows something. She knows that the moment she admits jealousy, she admits attachment. And the moment she admits attachment, she feels exposed. So instead of saying, "I'm jealous," she will act like she's fine. Instead of saying, "I don't like that girl," she will smile. Instead of Ying, "I want you to myself," she will pretend she doesn't care. But her behavior will reveal her, because jealousy is an emotion that leaks out. It cannot stay hidden for long. It always finds a way to express itself through tone, through mood, through energy, through silence. And this is why men get confused. They think her mood swings are random. They think her coldness is disrespect. They think her attitude is unnecessary. But what they don't realize is that her nervous system is reacting to a threat. Not always a real threat, but a perceived one. It could be a woman laughing too much around you. It could be someone liking your photos. It could be you mentioning another girl casually. It could even be you giving your attention to something else, your work, your friends, your phone. Because when she is in love, she becomes sensitive to where your attention goes, and attention is everything. A woman doesn't just fall in love with a man's face, she falls in love with his focus, she falls in love with his presence, she falls in love with the way he makes her feel seen. So when she notices that your focus is drifting towards someone else, it doesn't feel like a small thing. It feels like a crack in the emotional bond she's building with you. And jealousy is her mind's way of saying, be careful, this matters. But again, she will not say it directly, because a woman in love wants to appear emotionally controlled. She wants to appear dignified. She wants to appear like she is not easily affected, because she believes that if she shows jealousy, she looks desperate. If she shows jealousy, she looks weak. If she shows jealousy, she looks like she's chasing you. ND women don't want to chase. They want to be chosen. So what happens instead? She starts observing. She becomes more aware of everything around you. She notices details that she never cared about before. She starts remembering names. She starts paying attention to your social circle. She starts watching how you speak to other women. She starts analyzing your tone, your smile, your eye contact. She starts noticing who you give energy to and who you ignore. And if she sees you being too friendly, too available, too charming, too comfortable with other women, something shifts inside her. Not because she wants to control you, but because she wants reassurance. And she wants it without asking for it. This is the part most men don't understand. Women often want reassurance indirectly. They want you to naturally make them feel secure without them having to beg for it. They want you to make it obvious through your behavior that you value them. Because when you give reassurance, only after she asks, it feels forced. It feels like she had to demand it. It feels like she had to compete for it. And a woman who is deeply in love does not want to feel like she's competing for the man she wants. She wants to feel like she's already chosen. So instead of asking you directly, she will test you emotionally. She may suddenly become quiet after seeing you talk to another woman. She may become distant after you mention someone else. She may stop being as warm as she was before. She may suddenly become busy. And when you ask her what's wrong, she will say something like, nothing. And men hate that word. Because nothing never means nothing. Nothing means, I am hurt, but I refuse to admit it. Nothing means I care more than I want to. Nothing means you have power over my emotions and I hate it. And here's the deeper truth. When a woman is in love, jealousy is not just about other women. It's also about the fear that she is not enough. It's about the fear that someone else could offer you something she cannot. It's about the fear that you might get bored, that you might leave, that you might replace her. Because love makes a woman feel emotionally exposed. It makes her aware of her own imperfections. And when she sees another woman who seems more attractive, more confident, more feminine, more successful, it triggers a quiet insecurity, not because she lacks value, but because she values you. And this is why jealousy can be so intense. It is not about controlling you. It is about protecting her emotional investment. A woman's jealousy is her heart trying to defend itself. But because she refuses to show it directly, it comes out in other ways. She might criticize the other woman subtly. She might make a sarcastic comment. She might change the subject. She might suddenly become overly confident. She might start posting more. She might start dressing differently. She might suddenly become more affectionate, trying to reclaim your attention. Or she might become colder, trying to protect her pride. And if you were paying attention, you will notice the pattern. Her jealousy is not loud, it's strategic, it's emotional, but disguised as indifference. Because a woman in love will rarely say, I'm jealous. Instead, she will say things like, she seems nice, or you two look good together, or you should talk to her. But her tone will carry something else, and that tone is the truth. Now, let me say something important here, because this is where many men make a mistake. Some men enjoy making women jealous. They think it's power. They think it increases attraction. They think it proves that she cares. And yes, it can temporarily increase obsession, but it destroys trust. And a woman can be obsessed with you and still not feel safe with you. And if she doesn't feel safe, she will eventually detach even if she loves you. Because deep love requires emotional security. If you constantly trigger her jealousy, she may become more attached, but she also becomes more anxious. And anxiety is not love. Anxiety is fear disguised as desire. A wise man doesn't try to create jealousy. A wise man creates certainty. He creates calmness. He creates stability. And that stability makes her love deeper, not more chaotic. Because when a woman feels secure with you, she becomes softer. She becomes more loyal. She becomes more emotionally available. She becomes more feminine. She stops testing you. She stops doubting you. She stops scanning for threats. But if she feels uncertain, jealousy becomes her daily emotional state. And that is exhausting. That is painful. That is the kind of emotional environment that eventually destroys attraction. So what should you do when you notice she's jealous? The first thing you should not do is mock her. Don't make her feel stupid for caring. Don't tell her she's overreacting. Don't call her insecure, because jealousy is not always irrational. Sometimes it's intuitive. Sometimes she sees things you don't see. Sometimes she senses disrespect from another you. Oh man, before you notice it. The second thing you should not do is feed it. Don't flirt back with other women just to prove you're wanted. Don't use jealousy as a tool to control her emotions, because when you do that, you are telling her your fear is real. And once she believes her fear is real, she starts preparing to protect herself. And the way women protect themselves is not by fighting, it's by emotionally detaching. She may still talk to you, she may still smile, she may still be around, but her heart will quietly leave, and you won't even notice until she's gone. So the intelligent response is calm reassurance, not desperate reassurance, not over-explaining, just consistent behavior, consistent loyalty, consistent attention, consistent boundaries. A woman in love doesn't need you to swear you'll never leave. She needs you to act like a man who knows what he values. And if you value her, your behavior will make it clear without you having to announce it. Because jealousy at its core is not about another woman. It's about uncertainty. And if you remove uncertainty, you remove the poison. So when she becomes jealous, understand what it means. It means she is emotionally invested. It means she cares. It means she sees you as valuable. It means she feels something deep enough that she's afraid of losing it. And that is not weakness. That is the beginning of love. But remember, love can either mature into peace or it can decay into anxiety. And the difference is how you handle her emotions. Because the man who responds to jealousy with ego creates a woman who becomes cold. But the man who responds with calm leadership creates a woman who becomes loyal. So if you ever wonder whether she is secretly deeply in love with you, look closely. Not at her words, not at her social media, not at her attitude. Look at what happens when another woman enters the picture. Because jealousy is the confession she will never speak. And here's the truth to end with. A woman will only fear losing the man she truly wants. So if her heart reacts when your attention shifts, don't treat it like drama. Treat it like proof, because jealousy is not the enemy of love. Uncertainty is, and the man who brings certainty becomes unforgettable. When a woman is secretly deeply in love with you, she doesn't just notice you, she starts absorbing you. And this is where most men misunderstand what love really is. They think love is loud, they think love is obvious, they think love is constant texting, constant compliments, constant romance. But deep love doesn't always announce itself. Deep love becomes quiet, precise, and strangely intelligent, because when a woman truly starts falling for you, her mind begins to collect you in pieces. Not just your smile, not just your voice, not just your looks. She begins to collect your patterns, your habits, your emotional rhythm, the way you react when you're stressed, the way you speak when you're calm, the way you pause before answering, the way your eyes shift when something bothers you. She begins to study the parts of you that even you don't pay attention to. And the proof of that love is simple. She remembers details you don't even remember about yourself. This is not a small sign. This is not something random. This is one of the most powerful indicators that a woman has emotionally attached to you. Because memory is not neutral. Memory is selective. Human beings remember what matters to them. They remember what carries emotional weight. They remember what their mind has labeled as important. So when a woman remembers your smallest details, she is revealing something deep. She is revealing that you have become psychologically significant to her. And there is a difference between a woman who is entertained by you and a woman who is in love with you. A woman who is entertained will remember the highlights. She will remember the fun. She will remember the surface level things. She will remember your jokes, your confidence, your style. But a woman who is deeply in love will remember the things you said when you weren't trying to impress her. She will remember what you said casually without realizing it mattered. She will remember the tiny sentence you dropped one day about your childhood. She will remember the story you told when you were half tired, half distracted, not even realizing she was listening carefully. Because when a woman is in love, she listens differently. She doesn't listen to respond. She listens to understand. She listens to interpret. She listens to decode you. And what's fascinating is that she may not even realize she's doing it. It happens naturally. Her mind becomes tuned to you. Your words become stored, not as information, but as emotional evidence. Evidence of who you are, evidence of your values, evidence of your wounds, evidence of your dreams. And this is why she remembers, because she is building a psychological map of you. Think about it. When you truly care about something, you remember details about it. When you care about your career, you remember numbers, dates, goals. When you care about a sport, you remember statistics. When you care about your health, you remember what you ate, what you drank, how you slept. Your mind remembers what you prioritize. So when a woman starts remembering details about you, she is unintentionally revealing that you've become a priority in her internal world. And this is where it becomes almost dangerous, because she will remember things you said months ago and she will bring them up casually and you will be shocked. You will think, how did she remember that? But she remembered because your words were not just words to her, they were emotional markers. They were signals. She will remember your favorite food, not because she's trying to impress you, but because she is imagining you in her life. She's imagining what you like. She's imagining what makes you comfortable. She is imagining what makes you happy. She will remember what you hate, what annoys you, what triggers you, what makes you quiet. She will remember how you take your coffee. She will remember your schedule. She will remember what you said about your father. She will remember the thing you said about feeling misunderstood. She will remember the dream you mentioned once about the future. And here's the part that will shock you. Sometimes she will remember your pain more than you do, because women are emotionally observant. When they care, they become detectives. They can read your silence like a language. And when she is deeply in love, she becomes even more sensitive to your emotional shifts. She will notice when your voice sounds slightly heavier. She will notice when your energy is slightly lower. She will notice when you're not as talkative. She will notice when you're forcing a smile. And she will not always confront you directly. Instead, she will adjust herself around you. She will soften. She will become careful. She will ask subtle questions. She will try to bring comfort into your space without making you feel weak. And this is not something she does for every man. She does this for the man she emotionally values, because love makes a woman instinctively nurturing, not in a desperate way, in a deeply human way, in a way that says, I want to be part of your inner world. And that's the truth. When she remembers details about you, she is telling you she wants access, she wants closeness, she wants connection, she wants to be included in your life, not just as a romantic interest, but as someone who understands you. Now, there is a philosophical depth here that most people ignore, because memory is not just a sign of love, it is also a sign of devotion. Devotion is when someone carries you with them mentally, even when you are not present. Devotion is when you occupy space in someone's consciousness. And if a woman is secretly deeply in love with you, you will occupy that space. You will become the thought that interrupts her day. You will become the name that crosses her mind when she sees something funny. You will become the face she imagines when she hears a song. You will become the person she compares others to without realizing it. And this is why she remembers, because her brain is repeatedly returning to you, and repetition creates memory. This is psychology. The brain stores what it repeats. It stores what it revisits. It stores what it emotionally replays. So if she remembers everything about you, it means you are being replayed inside her mind when you are not even there. That is what love does. Love is mental occupation. Love is psychological attachment. And attachment always shows itself through memory. Now, here is where men make a mistake. Many men see this and they take it lightly. They think it's cute. They think it's sweet. They think it's just a woman being attentive. But it is much deeper than that. A woman remembering your details is not just affection. It is emotional investment. It means she is building an internal relationship with you. And that is why you must be careful with how you treat her. Because when she remembers you deeply, she is also emotionally storing you deeply. And the deeper someone stores you, the harder it becomes to remove you. This is why heartbreak is so painful, because it's not just losing a person, it's losing a mental presence that has become part of your daily emotional routine. So when she remembers your details, she is already connected to you in a way that is not casual anymore. And sometimes you will see this in the smallest things. She will remember the name of your friend that you mentioned once. She will remember the city you said you wanted to visit. She will remember the type of music you like. She will remember the way you said you hate disrespect. She will remember the one sentence you said about wanting peace, wanting loyalty, wanting a calm life. And then one day she will do something that makes you realize just how deep her attention goes. She will surprise you with something you forgot you even wanted. She would say something that proves she listened. She will bring up a conversation you assumed she didn't care about. And suddenly you will realize this woman has been paying attention to your mind, not just your appearance. And that is when you know it is real, because physical attraction makes a woman look at you, but emotional attachment makes her study you. Now, another important layer is this. When a woman is deeply in love, she will remember the way you make her feel. She will remember the emotional atmosphere you create. This is why certain men become unforgettable, not because they were perfect, not because they were the richest, not because they were the most handsome, but because they made her feel something she can't replace. And when she meets other men, she will compare. She will think he's nice, but he's not him. She will think he's attractive, but he doesn't feel like him. Because your emotional imprint is what she remembers. This is why your words matter. Your tone matters, your consistency matters, your emotional discipline matters, because women don't fall in love with what you promise. They fall in love with what you repeatedly show them. And if she remembers you deeply, it means your presence has left a mark. But here is the warning that comes with this sign. A woman who remembers everything about you is a woman who is quietly attaching her heart to you. And attachment is powerful, but it is also fragile. Because the more she remembers, the more she expects. The more she remembers, the more she assumes you are building something real. The more she remembers, the more she believes you are not temporary. And if you are not serious, you should not accept that kind of love. Because attention is not free. Memory is not free. Emotional investment is not free. When a woman remembers you, she is spending emotional energy on you. She is giving you space in her mind that she could have used for herself. She is giving you importance. And a man who understands this does not take it lightly. He doesn't play games with her heart. He doesn't disappear and return like nothing happened. He doesn't treat her loyalty like entertainment. Because the truth is, a woman who remembers you deeply is not just attracted, she is attached. And attachment is sacred. So if you ever wonder whether she is secretly deeply in love with you, don't look for big dramatic confessions. Look for the quiet signs. Look for the details she remembers. Look for the things she brings up that you forgot you said. Look at how she notices your emotional shifts. Look at how she remembers your values, your pain, your story, because that is not casual. That is love growing in silence. And the final truth is this: a woman may forget what you gave her. She may forget what you bought her. She may even forget what you promised her. but she will never forget the man she studied, because the man she studies becomes the man she carries. So if she remembers you in detail, understand what that means. It means you are no longer just someone she talks to, you are someone she is mentally building a future with. And if you are wise, you will treat that kind of love with respect. Because the greatest power a man can have is not being desired, it is being remembered. So the question is not whether she is in love with you. The question is whether why are mature enough to deserve the space you occupy in her mind. When a woman is secretly, deeply in love with you, she doesn't just enjoy your presence, she becomes affected by it. And this is one of the most misunderstood signs because it doesn't always look romantic. In fact, sometimes it looks like the opposite. Sometimes it looks like moodiness. Sometimes it looks like distance. Sometimes it looks like irritation. But what's really happening underneath is something far more profound. Your absence starts to disturb her. And I don't mean she misses you in a cute, simple way. I mean your absence begins to create emotional noise inside her mind. It disrupts her internal balance. It changes the way she moves through her day. It shifts her energy. And the reason is psychological, not dramatic. Because when a woman is deeply in love, your presence becomes part of her emotional routine. You become familiar. You become safe. You become something her nervous system recognizes. Your voice, your attention, your messages, your energy, your consistency, it starts to become part of the rhythm of her life. And when that rhythm is interrupted, her mind notices, her body notices, her emotions notice. This is why a woman who is truly in love doesn't just like being around you. She starts feeling more like herself when she's around you. She feels calmer, she feels lighter, she feels understood. And once she experiences that, she doesn't want to go back to emotional emptiness. So when you disappear, even briefly, she feels it, not because she's needy, but because attachment has begun, and attachment always reacts to distance. Now, here's the interesting part. A woman who is deeply in love will often pretend she doesn't care. She will act unbothered. She will act like she's busy. She will act like she's fine. She might even become colder than usual. And this is where men get confused. Men assume if she's cold, she's losing interest. Men assume if she's distant, she doesn't care. But often the truth is the opposite. She cares so much that she's trying to protect herself from caring, because love makes a woman vulnerable, and vulnerability makes her feel exposed. When she feels emotionally connected to you, she becomes aware of how much your behavior affects her. She becomes aware that if you pull away, she will feel it. If you change, she will feel it. If you ignore her, she will feel it. And that realization is uncomfortable. So her instinct is to act like she doesn't care, because if she can convince herself that she's unbothered, then she doesn't feel weak. But her emotions don't listen to her pride. Her emotions respond anyway. And this is why your absence becomes a test for her own emotional control. She starts questioning things. She starts overthinking. She starts wondering if she said something wrong. She starts wondering if you found someone else. She starts wondering if you're losing interest. She starts replaying conversations in her head. She starts checking her phone more often, even if she doesn't want to admit it. Because when a woman is deeply in love, she becomes emotionally sensitive to inconsistency, not because she wants to control you, but because inconsistency triggers fear, and fear triggers attachment. This is how the human mind works. We become more obsessed with what feels uncertain. We become more focused on what feels unstable. This is why people chase emotionally unavailable partners. It's not because it's healthy. It's because uncertainty activates the brain. It creates a craving. It creates a hunger for clarity. So when you disappear, her brain doesn't relax. Her brain starts searching for answers. And this is where you see a very specific behavior. She will become emotionally reactive in small ways. She might post something that feels like it's directed at you. She might suddenly start acting extra happy on social media. She might suddenly become more active, more visible, more expressive, not because she's moved on, but because she's trying to regain control of her emotions. She's trying to tell herself, I'm fine, I don't need him. She's trying to create an image of strength, but deep down she's affected. And if you're emotionally intelligent, you'll notice it. Because the truth is, a woman who doesn't care about you does not react to your absence. She continues her life normally. But a woman who is deeply in love experiences your absence like a disruption. It feels like a change in emotional temperature. It feels like something is missing, even if she can't explain what it is. And the deeper her love, the more intense the reaction becomes. Now, let's talk about the philosophical side of this, because love is not just attraction. Love is psychological presence. Love is when someone becomes part of your inner world. It's when you carry them mentally, even when they are not physically there. So when you disappear, it feels like a sudden silence in her mind, and silence is not peaceful when you're attached. Silence becomes loud, it becomes heavy, it becomes confusing. This is why women in love often struggle with unanswered messages or unexplained distance. It's not because they're childish, it's because emotional attachment makes you sensitive to changes in connection. And here is where most men make a critical mistake. They assume that if she reacts emotionally, she is weak. No, if she reacts emotionally, it means she's invested. It means she cares. It means your presence matters. Because no one gets disturbed by the absence of someone they don't value. But what makes this even more interesting is how she expresses that disturbance. She doesn't always say, I miss you. She doesn't always say, where were you? She doesn't always say, I was thinking about you. Instead, she might become irritated. She might become sarcastic. She might become short with you. She might respond late on purpose. She might say something like, oh, you're alive. She might act like she's offended even if she doesn't explain why. And this is where men fail because they interpret her irritation as disrespect. They interpret her sarcasm as negativity. They interpret her coldness as arrogance. But often it's not arrogance. It's emotional pain disguised as pride because she doesn't want to admit that she missed you. She doesn't want to admit that she waited. She doesn't want to admit that your silence bothered her. So she covers it with attitude. And if you understand women deeply, you'll understand something. A woman's anger is often sadness in armor. It's disappointment wearing a mask. Because disappointment hurts more than anger. Anger feels powerful. Sadness feels vulnerable. So she chooses anger. Boo. What she really means is, you mattered to me more than I expected. Now, another important layer is this. When a woman is deeply in love, your absence makes her reflect. It makes her realize how much emotional space you occupy. When you are present, she feels you. When you are absent, she feels the gap. And this gap creates awareness. She becomes aware that she is attached. And that awareness scares her, because attachment means risk. It means she could be hurt. It means she could be rejected. It means she could be replaced. So she begins to protect herself. And this is where you will notice her doing one of two things. Either she becomes more affectionate, trying to pull you closer, or she becomes colder, trying to create distance so she doesn't feel dependent. And both behaviors come from the same place. Fear of losing you. This is why love is complicated. Love is not just affection. Love is also fear. Love is also uncertainty. Love is also the realization that someone has the power to affect your emotional world. So when you disappear, she feels that power, and she doesn't like it because she wants control, and love removes control. Now, let's be clear. A woman being affected by your absence does not mean she will chase you. She may not send you 10 messages. She may not call you repeatedly. She may not beg. Because women who have self-respect will not chase openly. They will suffer quietly. But they will notice, they will think, they will observe, they will pull back, they will become more guarded, and they will remember, because every time you disappear without explanation, you create uncertainty, and uncertainty is dangerous for a woman who is emotionally invested. Now, a mature man understands this, and doesn't use it as a weapon. Some men enjoy the power of being missed. They enjoy disappearing and coming back just to feel wanted. They enjoy creating emotional chaos because it feeds their ego. But a man who is emotionally intelligent does not play with a woman's attachment because he understands something. A woman's love grows in safety, not in anxiety. If you constantly disappear, she will not love you more. She will fear you more. And fear can look like obsession, but it is not devotion. Fear can look like attachment, but it is not peace. And a woman cannot stay in love with a man who makes her nervous all the time. Eventually, she will detach to survive. And when a woman detaches, it is silent. She doesn't announce it. She doesn't argue. She doesn't beg. She just emotionally leaves. And you will only realize it when she no longer reacts to your absence, because the day she stops being disturbed by your silence is the day you lost her. That is the real sign. A woman in love reacts. A woman who is done becomes calm. So if she is affected when you disappear, understand the depth of that sign. It means you are not just someone she likes. You are someone she has mentally included in her life. You are someone she checks for, someone she thinks about, someone she feels connected to. And this is why your presence must be intentional. Your consistency must be real. Your communication must be mature. Because when a woman is deeply in love, she doesn't need constant attention, but she needs emotional stability. She needs to know where she stands. She needs to know that you are not a man who disappears when it's convenient. She needs to know that you are not a man who treats her emotions like a game, because a woman can handle distance, but she cannot handle uncertainty. Distance with clarity is safe. Distance with silence is torture, and a woman in love will not tolerate emotional torture forever. She may stay quiet, she may act strong, she may pretend she's fine, but inside she is learning something about you. She is learning whether you are a man who brings peace or a man who brings confusion. So if you notice she becomes irritated when you vanish, don't mock her, don't call her clingy, don't treat it like weakness. Understand what it is. It is the emotional evidence that your presence has become valuable to her. And if you're wise, you will honor that. Because the truth is, being missed is not power. Being trusted is power. Being respected is power. And being consistent is what creates real love. So if her energy changes when you disappear, don't ignore it. It means your absence is louder than your words. And that only happens when you matter. And here is the final truth to reflect on. A woman's heart doesn't break when you leave. It breaks when she realizes she cared and you didn't. So don't be the man she learns to live without. Be the man whose presence becomes her peace. When a woman is secretly, deeply in love with you, one of the strangest things you will notice is that she will come close and then suddenly pull away. She will open up emotionally, reveal something personal, let her guard down for a moment, and then almost immediately act like it never happened. She may become colder, quieter, more distant, or even slightly indifferent. And if you're not emotionally intelligent, you will misunderstand it completely. You will think she is playing games. You will think she is confused. You will think she is inconsistent. But the truth is, she is not confused about you. She is afraid of herself. Because when a woman truly starts falling for a man, the biggest battle is not between her and him. The biggest battle is inside her. It's between her heart and her mind. It's between what she feels and what she fears. It's between her desire to connect and her instinct to protect herself. So when she opens up and then pulls back, it is not a sign that she doesn't care. It is often a sign that she cares too much. And this is something most men never understand, because men often express love through direct pursuit. Men lean in. Men become more consistent. Men become more present. Men become more obvious. But women, especially emotionally intelligent women, do something different. When they start to feel too much, they don't always move closer. Sometimes they retreat, not because they want distance, but because they need control. Because love, real love, does something dangerous to a woman. It makes her emotionally exposed. It makes her vulnerable. It makes her feel like her heart is no longer fully protected. And a woman can handle many things, but what she fears most is being emotionally powerless. This is why she pulls back, because she feels herself giving you access. She feels herself caring. She feels herself trusting. And the moment she realizes she's trusting you, her mind sends a warning signal. Be careful. Don't give too much. Don't get attached too quickly. Don't lose your dignity. Don't let him see how much you feel. And so she starts to close again. This is not immaturity. This is self-protection. This is emotional survival. Many women have been conditioned, either through experience or observation, to believe that the moment they become too soft, they become easy to hurt. The moment they become too available, they become easy to take for granted. The moment they show too much emotion, they lose respect. So even if her heart wants to speak, her pride tries to silence it, and that internal conflict creates the most confusing behavior. She might tell you something deeply personal, and then the next day act like she's not interested. She might open up about her fears and then suddenly disappear. She might show warmth, then act cold. She might show softness, then act hard. And you need to understand what's happening psychologically. When a woman reveals her inner world to you, she is giving you access to her vulnerability. She is showing you her weak points. She is showing you the parts of her that she doesn't show to everyone. And that is not a casual thing. That is emotional intimacy. That is trust. But the moment she does it, she becomes aware of the risk, because now you know something real about her. Now you have information that could be used against her. Now you have seen her softness. And if you are the wrong man, you could use it to control her. You could use it to manipulate her. You could use it to make her feel small. And most women have seen that happen before. So after she opens up, her mind panics and she pulls back to regain control. This is why you must never confuse emotional withdrawal with emotional detachment. They are not the same. Emotional withdrawal is temporary. It is the nervous system trying to stabilize. It is her mind trying to restore emotional balance after she exposed herself. Emotional detachment is permanent. It is when she no longer cares. But emotional withdrawal is what happens when she cares deeply and doesn't know how to handle it. Now, here is the deeper truth. A woman who is in love is not just dealing with you. She is dealing with her own expectations. She is dealing with her own future fantasies. She is dealing with the idea of what you could become in her life. She starts imagining a future without even wanting to. She starts imagining what it would feel like to have you fully. She starts imagining what it would feel like to lose you. And that imagination is powerful because when she imagines losing you, she feels pain even before anything has happened. This is why she pulls back, because she is trying to prevent future pain by creating distance now. This is a psychological defense mechanism. If she keeps her emotions controlled, she believes she will not suffer as much. If she stays slightly distant, she believes she can walk away easily if things go wrong. If she doesn't fully surrender, she believes she can protect her heart. But the problem is, love cannot grow in constant defense. Love requires openness. Love requires trust. Love requires the willingness to be seen. And when she pulls back, she is fighting that process. Now let's talk about the kind of woman who does this the most. It's often women who are emotionally intelligent, women who have been hurt before, women who have high standards, women who don't trust easily. These women don't fall in love quickly. They observe, they analyze, they protect themselves. And when they finally start to feel something, it scares them more than it excites them, because they know what love can do. They know love can weaken the strongest person. They know love can make you compromise. They know love can make you blind. They know love can make you ignore red flags. So when they start to fall, they don't celebrate. They become cautious. They become careful. They become guarded. And the moment they open up, they feel like they have lost some of their power. And that's why they pull back. They want to feel in control again. But here is what most men do wrong. When she pulls back, they chase her aggressively. They start demanding clarity. They start questioning her. They start flooding her with messages. They start acting needy. They start acting emotional. And that destroys everything, because her pulling back is not an invitation for you to beg. It is an opportunity for you to show emotional leadership. It is an opportunity for you to show calm strength. It is an opportunity for you to show her that intimacy does not scare you and distance does not destabilize you. A woman who is deeply in love is watching your reaction carefully. She is watching whether you become desperate. She is watching whether you lose your dignity. She is watching whether you start acting like you need her validation to survive. Because the moment you act needy, she feels unsafe, not because she doesn't like attention, but because neediness signals instability, and women don't fall in love with instability, they fall in love with emotional strength. So when she pulls back, the correct response is not to chase her. The correct response is to stay consistent, stay calm, stay grounded, stay emotionally stable, continue your life, continue your purpose, continue your confidence, and let her see that you are not shaken by her fluctuations, because this is what makes her trust you more. She starts realizing this man is not reactive, this man is not emotionally weak, this man is not trying to control me, this man is stable, and stability is the most attractive thing to a woman who has ever been emotionally hurt. Now, here is another layer that most men never see. Sometimes when she opens up and pulls back, it's because she regrets revealing too much. She starts thinking, did I look desperate? Did I talk too much? Did I expose myself? Did I give him too much power? And that regret makes her act distant, not because she dislikes you, but because she's embarrassed by her own vulnerability. And embarrassment is powerful. It makes people withdraw. This is why after a deep conversation, she might suddenly act like nothing happened. She might act casual. She might act cold. She might act indifferent, because she is trying to hide how much that conversation meant to her. Because in her mind, if she acts too warm, you will realize she's emotionally invested. And if you realize she's invested, she fears you might stop trying. This is another fear women carry. Many women believe that when a man knows he has them, he stops pursuing. He becomes lazy, he becomes careless, he becomes less romantic, he becomes less attentive. So sometimes she pulls back not because she's losing interest, but because she's trying to keep your interest alive. She's trying to make sure you don't take her for granted. And again, she may not even consciously realize she's doing it. It's instinctive, it's protective. Now, if you are emotionally intelligent, you will understand something very important here. A woman pulling back after opening up is often a sign that she is falling deeper than she expected. It's a sign that she is experiencing emotions she didn't plan for. It's a sign that you have entered a space in her heart that she didn't intend to open. And that is why she retreats, because she needs to process. She needs to regain emotional balance. She needs to remind herself that she is still in control. But here is the key. The way you respond in this phase determines everything. If you respond with pressure, you push her further away. If you respond with calmness, you pull her closer. If you respond with insecurity, you confirm her fears. If you respond with emotional stability, you become her safe place. And this is what women truly want. They want a man who can hold emotional space without panicking. They want a man who can handle intimacy without becoming controlling. They want a man who can remain consistent without demanding constant reassurance. Because a woman can only fully surrender her heart when she feels that the man is emotionally mature enough to handle it. And that is what this sign is really about. When she opens up, she is giving you a glimpse of her heart. When she pulls back, she is checking if you are worthy of it. So don't get offended. Don't act hurt. Don't act like a boy who needs constant attention. Be patient. Be steady. Be emotionally grounded. Because if she is secretly deeply in love with you, she will come back. She will return to you. She will open up again. But she will only do it if she feels safe. And safety is not created by words. Safety is created by behavior. Safety is created by consistency. Safety is created by emotional control. So if you want her love to grow, don't punish her for being scared. Understand her, respect her pace, and show her through your calmness that you are not here to take advantage of her vulnerability. Because the truth is, the strongest love is not the love that comes fast. It is the love that comes after fear. It is the love that survives hesitation. It is the love that survives the battle between heart and pride. So if she opens up and then pulls away, don't chase her like she's running away. Stand still like a ma. Who knows his value, because the right woman will not run forever. She will only step back long enough to see if you are real. And here is the closing truth you need to remember. A woman doesn't pull away because she feels nothing. She pulls away because she feels too much. So the question is not whether she loves you. The question is whether you have the emotional strength to be the man she can finally stop running from